The experiences I'm about to share started almost a year ago when I broke up with my longtime girlfriend. We'd dated for 6 years. It started with a whisper. I hadn't meant to summon her. I hadn't even believed in demons, not really. But after months of loneliness that followed my breakup, the heartbreak, and a growing emptiness I couldn't shake, I found myself scrolling through obscure forums late at night, searching for something, anything, to fill the void. That's when I stumbled across the ritual. It was simple enough: a few candles, a drop of blood, and a name written on a piece of paper. The instructions warned against using your own name, but I didn't take it seriously. I was desperate, not superstitious. I figured it was just another internet hoax, something to pass the time. So, I lit the candles, pricked my finger, and wrote my name in shaky red letters. I burned the paper, watching the smoke curl upward, and laughed at myself for being so ridiculous. That night, I dreamed of her. She was beautiful in a way that made my chest ache. Long, dark hair, eyes that glimmered like molten gold, and a smile that promised everything I'd ever wanted. She didn't speak, not at first. She just watched me, her gaze heavy and unblinking, as if she were memorizing every detail of my face. When I woke up, I was drenched in sweat, my heart pounding, but I told myself it was just a dream. The next night, she came again. This time, she spoke. Her voice was low and melodic, like the hum of a violin string, and it sent shivers down my spine. She called me by my name, the one I'd written in blood, and told me she'd been waiting for me. I tried to wake up, to pull myself out of the dream, but I couldn't move. My body felt heavy, pinned to the bed by an invisible force. She leaned over me, her breath cold against my skin, and whispered, "Let me in." I didn't know what she meant, but I nodded anyway. What harm could it do? It was just a dream. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. My limbs were sore, as if I'd been running in my sleep, and there were faint bruises on my wrists, like someone had gripped me too tightly. I told myself I must have tossed and turned, but deep down, I knew that wasn't it. The dreams continued, night after night. Each time she grew bolder, her touch more insistent. At first it was thrilling. She made me feel wanted, desired in a way no one ever had before. But soon, the pleasure turned to pain. Her nails dug into my skin, her kisses left marks that lingered for days, and her voice became a constant presence in my mind, even when I was awake. "Let me in," she would whisper over and over, until the words lost all meaning. I tried to ignore her, to convince myself it was all in my head, but the evidence was impossible to deny. My health began to deteriorate. I was always tired, no matter how much I slept, and I started losing weight at an alarming rate. My friends noticed, but I brushed off their concerns, too ashamed to admit what was happening. One night, I decided to confront her. In the dream, I stood my ground and demanded to know what she wanted from me. She laughed, a sound that was equal parts beautiful and terrifying, and said, "You already gave me what I wanted. Your name, your blood, your body. But it's not enough. I want more." "What more could you possibly want?" I asked, my voice trembling. Her smile widened, revealing teeth that were just a little too sharp. "Your soul." I woke up screaming, my sheets tangled around me, my skin slick with sweat. That was the moment I realized I'd made a terrible mistake. She wasn't just a figment of my imagination. She was real, and she wasn't going to stop until she had everything. I tried to undo the ritual, to burn the candles and throw away the remnants of the paper, but it was too late. She was already inside me, a presence I couldn't escape. I could feel her in my thoughts, in my dreams, in the way my body moved even when I didn't want it to. The final straw came when I found myself standing on the edge of a bridge, staring down at the dark water below. It wasn't me. I knew it wasn't me. But my body wasn't mine to control anymore. She was there, whispering in my ear, telling me to jump. I fought her with everything I had, clinging to the railing until my hands bled. When I finally managed to pull myself away, I collapsed on the ground, sobbing. I knew I couldn't keep living like this. In the end, I sought help from someone who claimed to know about these things. A woman who called herself a spiritual cleanser. Her name was Miriam, and she lived in a small, cluttered apartment on the outskirts of the city. The walls were lined with shelves filled with jars of herbs, crystals, and strange artifacts I couldn't identify. She greeted me with a knowing look, as if she could see the shadow clinging to my soul. "You've been playing with forces you don't understand," she said, her voice stern but not unkind. "But we can fix this. It won't be easy and it won't be pleasant, but if you're willing to fight, I can help you." I nodded, desperate for any kind of relief. Miriam instructed me to sit in the center of a circle she had drawn on the floor with salt. She lit candles at the 4 cardinal points and began to chant in a language I didn't recognize. The air grew heavy, and I felt a pressure building in my chest, as if something were trying to claw its way out. The succubus's voice screamed in my mind, a sound so loud and piercing that I thought my skull would split open. "You can't get rid of me," she shrieked. "I'm part of you now." Miriam's chanting grew louder, and I felt a surge of energy pass through me, like an electric shock. The pressure in my chest exploded, and I collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. When I opened my eyes, the room was silent. The candles had burned out, and Miriam was kneeling beside me, her face pale but determined. "It's done," she said. "She's gone." For a while, I believed her. The dreams stopped, the bruises faded, and the voice in my head went silent. I started to rebuild my life, piece by piece, trying to forget the nightmare I'd been living. But deep down, I knew it wasn't over. I still feel her sometimes. In the quiet moments when I'm alone, I'll catch a glimpse of her out of the corner of my eye, or hear her voice in the rustle of the wind. She's still waiting, and one day, I might be foolish enough to let her in again. Months passed, and life returned to a semblance of normalcy. I moved to a new apartment, started a new job, and tried to convince myself that the past was behind me. But the truth was, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still there, lurking in the shadows, biding her time. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard it again, the whisper. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but it was there. "Let me in." My heart raced, and I sat up, scanning the room for any sign of her. The room was empty, but the air felt heavy, charged with an energy I couldn't explain. I told myself it was just my imagination, but deep down, I knew the truth. She was back. I returned to Miriam, desperate for her help once more. But when I arrived at her apartment, I found it empty. The shelves were bare, the candles gone, and the circle of salt on the floor had been swept away. A note lay on the table, written in Miriam's handwriting. "I'm sorry," it read. "There's nothing more I can do. She's too strong. You'll have to face her on your own." I crumpled the note in my hand, feeling a surge of anger and despair. I was alone, with no one to turn to and no way to fight her. That night I dreamed of her again. She was more beautiful than ever, her golden eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. She reached out to me, her touch cold and electric, and whispered, "You can't escape me. You belong to me." I woke up screaming, my body drenched in sweat. The bruises were back, darker and more pronounced than before. I knew then that I had no choice. I would have to face her, once and for all. I returned to the place where it all began, the room where I had performed the ritual. I lit the candles, pricked my finger, and wrote my name in blood once more. This time I didn't laugh. I knew what I was doing, and I knew the price I would have to pay. She appeared before me, her form shimmering in the candlelight. "You called me back," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of amusement and triumph. "I did," I replied, my voice steady despite the fear coursing through me. "But this time, I'm not letting you in. I'm letting you go." Her smile faltered, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes. "You can't," she said. "You're mine." "No," I said, my voice firm. "I'm not." I blew out the candles, and the room was plunged into darkness. When I opened my eyes, she was gone. The air felt lighter, the shadows less oppressive. I knew she wasn't truly gone. She would always be a part of me, a reminder of the choices I had made. But for now, I was free. I'd like to say that was the end of it, that I've moved on and left the past behind. But the truth is, I still feel her sometimes. In the quiet moments, when I'm alone, I'll catch a glimpse of her out of the corner of my eye or hear her voice in the rustle of the wind. She's still waiting, and one day I might be foolish enough to let her in again.